Hello. Thank you for tuning into True Crime Stories. It's 2025, and I'd like to thank all my subscribers for sticking by me and being patient with me. And I promise this year I'll do better with posting content. This year, I pray that my platform gets bigger so that I can reach a bigger audience and help more people out and continue to spread awareness. Many people don't know that I'm from New Jersey, so a lot of the stories that I have posted and I'm going to post are going to be about people from New Jersey or people from the surrounding areas. I just like to keep the people that I'm around aware of the things that's going on. And of course, I'm going to continue to do stories on people from other states and countries and stuff like that. But definitely going to be posting a lot of stories about people from New Jersey, from Philadelphia, from New York, from Delaware, and so on and so forth. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at True Crime News, and I post a lot of local and global stories on there as well. Again, I'd like to thank everybody for their support. New Jersey, the Garden State, with a population of over 9 million, we have a lot to offer. From North Jersey to Central, South, and even Southwest, we are close to some major popular cities. One popular city in the state is Atlantic City. Located in the southwestern part of New Jersey, people come from all over to visit Mini Vegas. With other nicknames such as Monopoly City and the world's famous playground, people have always been attracted to its beaches and casino nightlife. But after the glitz and glamour, Atlantic City can take a turn. Once you walk off the boardwalk, you could run into some trouble. From drug addicts, prostitution, drug dealers, and just people struggling trying to make ends meet. If you don't surround yourself with decent people and stay aware of your surroundings, you might find yourself in trouble. Today we're going to be talking about two young women from Atlantic City. They both went missing at the age of 19. One was found and one still hasn't been found. The one that was found, she was found deceased, unfortunately. And today we're just going to spread light and awareness on both of their stories. A young woman by the name of Nadira Ruffin fell victim to another person's bad choices. Born in Atlantic City on August 13, 1991, she attended the Atlantic City Public School District and graduated from high school in 2009. She attended Atlantic Cape Community College and was employed at the Ralph Lauren Polo clothing store. She was also a volunteer at Sister Jean's Kitchen, which at the time was a soup kitchen but later rebranded as a pantry. She loved music, dancing, and shopping with her family and friends. She also enjoyed traveling with her family to Disney World and attending family reunions. Most of all, she loved being with her son. Unfortunately, Nadira was the victim of a retaliation robbery that stemmed from some drama a few days prior. There is a neighborhood of multiple apartment complexes in Atlantic City nicknamed Back Maryland, which is located on North Maryland Avenue. This area is located farther away from the main parts of the city towards the back near the water, which is how I assume it's got its name. Now, according to news reports, Nadira was said to be living in Egg Harbor Township, which is an area not far from Atlantic City, but she worked in the city. So I'm sure that's the reason why she was in the city at the time. She frequented her own neighborhood. On Wednesday, March 23, 2011, according to investigative reports, many witnesses saw a woman by the initials of TW and Isaiah Ruffin, but he and Nadira were not related. These two were involved in an altercation. Apparently, the two were in a relationship and had a child together. From what witnesses heard, Isaiah was allegedly cheating on her, TW, and she assumed it was with Nadira. Mind you, these are people around the ages of 19, 20, so it could have been an on and off situation. You know, most young people don't take monogamous relationships serious and they tend to have a free spirit when it comes to dating. So I'm going to assume that this was the case. Nadira was visiting some people that she knew in the neighborhood when she was also confronted and assaulted by TW. After the incident, Nadira's friend confronted TW after learning she assaulted Nadira. When her friend did this, she mentioned that Isaiah touched her inappropriately and made disrespectful sexual advances towards her. The friend also mentioned she relayed the message to her child's father, who went by the nickname Goldie, also known as Donald Hawkins. He knew Isaiah because Isaiah was good friends with his cousin. Goldie would then contact Isaiah's mother and Isaiah's girlfriend TW to find his whereabouts. Eventually, Goldie got his number, contacted him, and agreed to meet him in the Back Maryland courtyard. Once they met, Goldie confronted Isaiah about the disrespect towards his child's mother. Isaiah said something along the lines of, "He's not about to argue over no females." Goldie took that as disrespect and began to strike him repeatedly until he was unconscious, and then he robbed him. Then Isaiah got up and tried to walk towards Goldie, I guess to defend himself, and Goldie knocked him down again and began to stomp him, but Isaiah's girlfriend, TW, began to scream Goldie's name, and then he got up off of him and left. These incidents happened in the courtyard, so I'm sure there were multiple other people that witnessed it, and I'm sure it was like a sense of embarrassment for Isaiah and for Nadira to be hit, and especially Isaiah to be hit and knocked down like that in front of everybody, and then hit again, and he was robbed. So that it was just a violation all around. Isaiah had to be transported to the hospital by ambulance for his injuries, and he told emergency personnel what happened. During the later investigation, Isaiah told detectives he was unconscious and wasn't aware of who had assaulted him, but did notice he was missing several $100s. After he was released from the hospital, Isaiah was rightfully upset and began to tell people what happened to him. He told his cousins, Shamira Smith and Aziz Sanders, that Goldie had assaulted him. His cousin Shamira, who was 24 at the time, was very upset that her cousin was beat up and robbed. She concluded that they were going to retaliate by robbing Nadira's friend. Shamira felt that it was her fault that Isaiah was assaulted in the first place because she the one that called and told Goldie that he disrespected her by touching her butt. Aziz agreed to help Shamira execute her plan, and they recruited Deshaun Hicks to participate. Later, cooperating witnesses would state that Shamira was getting information on the layout of Nadira's friend's place in preparation for the attack. It was common knowledge that the friend sold a narcotic known as waki, or embalming fluid, that is smoked after being added to cigarettes or marijuana. So nobody thought to handle the situation legally. They could have sued, they could have pressed charges, they could have even gotten the elders in the community to have them all come together and squash it. No, they were not thinking clearly and decided that they were going to hit a lick because the girl that was selling drugs, everybody know her to sell drugs, and apparently she had a lot of money in the house and she had a lot of drugs in the house. So they figured, they go do this quick robbery and that be that. But we know that that's not how things end. We know that it's a revolving door of retaliation. This person from that family is going to feel away and they're going to try to attack this one, and that person from that family is going to feel away. It's always somebody in the family that wants to get retaliation. It takes somebody with some common sense to step in and say, no, we're not going to do this. We're going to end this here because I want all my family to still be living here. I don't want my family to go through the nonsense. So nobody stepped up and did that, and that doesn't sit well on me because this happens so much. We see this happen all the time where people get murdered, people get beat up, and the other family member wants to retaliate, and they usually do it. People don't just talk these days. They doing what they say they're going to do. It's not worth getting into fights, getting into squabbles. It's not worth calling people to come handle the situation because then somebody else is going to come handle that situation. Just call the cops. Of course, we also know how things can get when we call the cops, especially to these situations, but it's better than the back and forth between families fighting because people are hurt, people are in pain, and you just got a lot of people that's being ignorant and not thinking about their future. And most of the people that's involved in this situation had kids, so nobody was thinking about their kids. Nobody was thinking about not being able to see their kids anymore. And that's the part that really bothers me, other than the fact that innocent lives are being targeted. On the evening of March 26, 2011, in the early morning, March 27, 2011, a group of individuals knocked on the friend's home door while wearing dark-colored clothing. One of the home's occupants responded, "Who is it?" And the group responded, "She's waiting for me." They didn't say who in particular was waiting for them, and the occupants of the home thought it was somebody that had just left out the house. Plus, the victim couldn't see who it was. They covered the peephole. So they just opened the door and were bum rushed. The home had 5 women in there, one of them who was Nadira. Everyone was duct taped and tied up, and at least 2 of them were pistol whipped. Now, documents say that Nadira and her son, who wasn't there at the time, was staying there with her friend, But like I said earlier, it said that she was staying in Egg Harbor Township, so I'm not really sure what the situation was. The assailants were presumed to be Shamira and two other males, Deshaun Hicks and Aziz Sanders. Once the victims were tied up, the assailants began to ransack the home looking for drugs and money. Victim 1 had waki and money made from those sales, and victim 4 had several bags of marijuana, which was taken from her purse. Essentially, all the victims were robbed and had their phones broken and put in water. One of the male assailants knew a few of the victims. The victims in the home would later admit that they heard Nadira plead and call Shamira's name and ask her why she was doing this. Shamira then figured because she was identified that Nadira would tell authorities. She then decided to kidnap Nadira. The attackers took 50 bags of marijuana and more than $500 in cash and left out the rear door of the residence through the sliding doors with Nadira. So now Nadira is missing. Nobody knows where she's at except for the people that came and robbed her friend's home, which was Shamira, Aziz, and Deshaun. The victims of the robbery knew at least one of the people who did it because Nadira said her name, and therefore that was the result of her being kidnapped. On April 7, 2011, the ACPD detectives interviewed Shamira Smith. During the interview, she claimed that she had no information relating to the home invasion and kidnapping of Nadira Ruffin. She identified her father as Ronnie Ruffin, no relation to the victim Nadira, who lived in Camden County, New Jersey, which is about a 40-45 minute drive from Atlantic City. She also identified her mother as DS, who resided in the Back Maryland area. As to Nadira, Shamira advised that she first met her in June of 2010, but did not recall seeing Nadira again till March 10, 2011. However, she was aware that Nadira smoked marijuana and waki. She was also aware that the victim 1 sold waki from her apartment. During the interview, Shamira identified Isaiah Ruffin as her first cousin. On the night of March 26, the home invasion, she said that she was at home with female issues with the father of her child. She said that she had wanted to go to the Nicki Minaj show but was too sick. She stated that she had not been out the house much and was just starting to feel better. She stated that she was staying at her father's address in Camden County since April 3rd of 2011. On April 8th, 2011, she was interviewed again by detectives from ACPD. During the interview, she advised that she first found out about the kidnapping from J.A., who was a friend of Isaiah, who was also dating Nadira. According to Shamira, J.A. called and told her about what happened, and then her cousin Isaiah also called and told her what happened. She claimed that she did not talk to J.A. or Isaiah until late Sunday, March 27, 2011. According to Shamira, Nadira should not have been in the residence with that group of girls because of the drug activity that was going on. She stated that she knew Nadira because Nadira used to take her to the grocery store. She also smoked marijuana with Nadira a few times. When asked about the other women at location the night of the kidnapping, she stated that she used to go out with victim number 3's stepbrother. She identified the woman whose house it was as victim number 1, and she said she was known on the street as that bee with the waki. She also knew the door and what her house was about, meaning that she knew the victim number 1 was a popular seller of waki. She claimed people would say, "I am going to get it from that bee Mo." She said that she did not know the rest of the women in the house. And when asked about her whereabouts on Saturday, March 26, 2011, she advised them that she wanted to go out but was hurting badly because of a medical problem. She admitted that she was planning to see her little cousin Isaiah Ruffin, who got beat up. She said he was beaten so badly that she cried when she saw him. Isaiah told Shamira that the guy who beat him up claimed that Isaiah touched his girlfriend's butt. Isaiah told Shamira that when he met the male just started beating him up. Shamira heard that Goldie put Isaiah to sleep, meaning he was knocked unconscious twice, and he did it in front of Isaiah's baby mother, TW. According to Shamira, Goldie was trying to disrespect Isaiah, and she was angry about this. However, on the night of the home invasion, she claimed that she went to the store and then stayed in the house with her son's father, who came to take care of her. She denied going anywhere other than her house or her mother's house in Back Maryland. She then talked about how she did things, and she said, "I do not take no SHIT. I do not let the guys disrespect me or I will smack them." I have always hang around the guys. I'm butch. A few days after the kidnapping, she said she went to her father Ronnie Ruffin's house in Camden County. She again claimed that night on Saturday, the night of the home invasion, she was so sick that she did not even answer the phone when her father was calling. She did not speak to her father until the next day. Ronnie Ruffin told her to come stay with him in Camden County, and she did. She further stated that her mother drove her to her father's house and she came back on the train on April 6, 2011. An investigation revealed that the home invasion began at approximately 2200 hours and that it lasted approximately 30 to 40 minutes. The telephone analysis revealed that Shamira, Deshaun, and Aziz's cell phones were in the Atlantic City area during the time immediately prior to the home invasion using cell towers that covered Victim 1's residence. A review of telephone records revealed that Shamira, Aziz, and Deshaun's phones were off during that time period that the home invasion was occurring. Records further revealed that during the duration of the home invasion, Isaiah and TW's phones repeatedly attempted to contact Shamira and Deshaun. Immediately after the home invasion, Shamira and Deshaun's phones became active again, and Isaiah's phone communicated with Shamira's phone. There were at least 4 calls between Isaiah's phone and Shamira's phone. After the last call, Isaiah's phone made a 911 call and requested an ambulance for a sick child. After talking to Isaiah for the last time, Shamira and Henry, which is her uncle, were in contact multiple times while Shamira's phone was traveling in the west direction of Philadelphia. As noted earlier, Henry is the uncle of Shamira, Aziz, and Isaiah. Records also revealed that Isaiah's phone attempted to contact Aziz's phone approximately 9 times, but the phone was off. Deshaun's cell phone also tracked westward across New Jersey, while Deshaun's phone traveled from Atlantic City to Camden County. It communicated with Henry Ruffin's phone several times. During that time, Deshaun's phone was communicating with Henry Ruffin's phone. Shamira's phone was not in contact with Henry Ruffin's phone. Based on connection records at approximately 39 hours, Deshaun's cell phone was in the same geographic area in Blackwood, New Jersey, with Henry Ruffin's phone and Shamira's phone. So basically, the stories weren't adding up to the cell phone records, and we know that they don't lie. On Tuesday, April 19, 2011, at approximately 10:35 a.m., the Philadelphia Police Department received a 911 call reporting the discovery of a human body in the Schuylkill River in the area of Martin Luther King Drive and Black Road. The body was removed by the Philadelphia Police Department Marine Unit. The female body had a handcuff on the left ankle and a piece of clothing wrapped around her head. Duct tape was wrapped in layers over the khaki-colored piece of clothing and all around her head and down to her neck. On April 20th, 2011, an assistant Philadelphia County medical examiner examined the body recovered in the Schuylkill River and determined that it was Nadira Ruffin's remains. Nadira Ruffin appeared to be dressed in the same clothing that she was wearing when taken from the residence in Atlantic City, as described by the victims when they were interviewed by law enforcement prior to the recovery of the body. The assistant medical examiner then determined that the cause of death was a penetrating gunshot wound to the head. The assistant medical examiner opened that the projectile traveled from right to left, back to front, and downward. The medical examiner ruled the manner of death was homicide. So basically, after Shamira and Deshaun and Aziz left the home in Atlantic City, they traveled to Clementon, New Jersey, and then they traveled to Philadelphia. While in Philadelphia, Shamira placed the gun near her cousin Aziz and told him that they were not leaving until someone else took Nadira's life. Now, she said this because she said she couldn't do it because Nadira was a mother like she was. At that point, Shamira could have just left Nadira there alive, but didn't. Aziz and Deshaun took Nadira to the banks of the Schuylkill River, where Aziz fired at her, killing her. Her body was then dumped in the river. So I believe that at some point, Shamira's cousin, Isaiah, the reason why she decided to plan this whole atrocity was interviewed by police as well. And Shamira's father and uncle, which are both Isaiah's uncles, were not too happy about this. On the night of July 30th, 2011, Henry Ruffin and Ronnie Ruffin went to TW, aka Isaiah's girlfriend's house without her consent through the unlocked front door. As Henry Ruffin and Ronnie Ruffin entered the house, Isaiah stood up from the couch and greeted them in the hallway. At that time, Henny and Ronnie started yelling at him, saying, "What the F are you saying? What are you telling the FBI?" Ronnie Ruffin grabbed Isaiah around the throat and started choking him. Ronnie Ruffin pushed Isaiah up against the wall and lifted him off the floor by his neck while yelling at Isaiah to keep his mouth shut. Henry and Ronnie eventually told Isaiah, "You coming with us?" at which the time they grabbed Isaiah by his neck and took him out the back door of the residence. One of the witnesses advised that Isaiah told the witness that Henry and Ronnie took Isaiah to Shamira's house. While they were dragging him, Henry repeatedly stated that he was going to kill Isaiah. While Ronnie dragged Isaiah, he was hitting him in the back of the head. The witness reported that Isaiah told him or her that once at Shamira's house, Ronnie stated that he heard Isaiah talking to the FBI and he better stop. Henry said that if he found out Isaiah talked to the FBI, he was going to kill him. Henry and Ronnie both warned Isaiah that if his name appeared on any discovery down the road, that they would kill him. So things are starting to get crazy, and it seems like all the big gangsters are starting to get nervous. And my thing is, like, why is that? Why do people commit crimes and then get upset when other people that may know the situation are cooperating with police? You knew that this was a possibility before you committed the crime, so why do it? And I don't understand why her father and her uncle was mad at their nephew when she was the one that did it. Yeah, it was supposedly for him, but I feel like she might have used that as fuel to go and rob them. She probably was planning on doing that anyway. So she decided, okay, this is it. Now we're really gonna do it because he got beat up, and I know that his baby mom sell drugs and she got money in the house and she be having a lot of activity in and out the house. So I know they got money in the house. That's all she was thinking about. I don't think she was really thinking about her cousin, because in what way was robbing the baby mom gonna help the cousin? Like, were they gonna split the money? I'm not sure what the mindset was, but for her father and her uncle, which are both his uncles, to go take him out the girlfriend's house, take him to her house, and then beat him up and threaten to kill him, it's just not adding up. Like, people got to stand on with the things that they do. What he should have did instead of doing all this was tell his daughter, "Nah, chill. We're gonna handle it a different way." Period. Like, why, you putting yourself through all this, and people always point the finger when they need to point the finger at themselves. You point the finger at somebody, you got three pointing back at you. So you should be mad at your daughter for going through it, knowing that she was out there telling on herself, knowing that it was going to come back to the police. Early Tuesday morning, October 18, 2011, 6 people were arrested. Shamira, Aziz, and Deshaun were all charged with Hobbs Act robbery, kidnapping, and possession of a firearm and furtherance of a crime of violence. Isaiah was charged with making false statements. Henry Ruffin was charged with witness tampering, and Ronnie Ruffin was charged with witness tampering. On June 17, 2014, Shamira was sentenced to 35 years in prison for her role in the kidnapping and death of Nadira Ruffin. Aziz Sanders was sentenced to 30 years in prison, and Deshaun Hicks was sentenced to 20 years in prison. In addition to the prison terms, Judge Rodriguez sentenced Hicks and Saunders to 5 years each of supervised release and ordered them to each pay $1.5 million in restitution. As we know, no amount of time that they could have got equals to Nadira's life being taken. I send my condolences to Nadira's family and friends that are still mourning and going through the pain that she's no longer here, and especially her son, Dink, who was 4 at the time this happened. He should be around 17, 18 now. I pray that he continues to have the strength to continue to grow and go on and continue his mom's legacy. And I'm so sorry that a silly fight resulted in her being taken. It should never happen, and I wish it was handled differently, but they all have to answer to the judge, and they all have to answer to the final judge, which is our Heavenly Father. Now, my next story is about a young lady named Sierra. I'm not sure if she's from back Maryland, but I know that she's from Atlantic City, and back Maryland is the last place that she was seen alive. About 23 years ago, a young mother by the name of Sierra Speedy Thomas went missing. People in the area probably knew who had something to do with her disappearance, but no one has come forward. And almost 23 years later, her family, including her children, are still waiting for someone to come forward with information. Sierra Sahara Thomas grew up in Atlantic City, New Jersey with her parents and sister. As she grew up, she was given the nickname Sweetie, a name that encompasses everything Sierra was as a person. She had a quiet and calm disposition about her, never bothered anyone, would get the clothes off her back and shoes off her feet, according to her sister Stephanie. Sierra was genuinely a sweet person and has been described as such by many that knew her. By looking at her picture, you can see by her smile and her eyes that the name Sweetie suited her. By 2002, at the age of 19, Sierra had become a young mom. She had 2 daughters. Having daughters during her teen years caused her to put a pause on her education at Atlantic City High School. However, at just 19 years of age, Sierra was as motivated as ever to become something for herself and for her daughters. Sierra worked at the local Caesars casino, had her own apartment, and was enrolled in classes to get her high school diploma. Sierra was described as a good mom to her girls and took great care of them. Of course, she had help from her family. Sierra's sister, Stephanie, has expressed how close they were, and she made sure she was always there to help Sierra when needed. On November 21st, 2002, Sierra reached out to her sister Steph to ask if she can give her a ride to her boyfriend's house. She would ask if she could take her to the 800 block of Maryland Avenue to see her youngest child's father, also known as Robert Dutch Taylor, who lived with his mother. Allegedly, Robert had seen Sierra earlier that day with a male friend, and knowing that Robert was a jealous type, Sierra wanted to go talk to him. Stephanie dropped Sierra off and waited in the car as she watched them talking by the front door. Seeing that the conversation was not ending soon, Stephanie told Sierra that when she was done for her to call for her to come get her, and she said that she would be in the area paying bills and she would wait for her call. Sadly, that call would never happen, because once Sierra went inside the home, no one saw her again. Stephanie waited for hours for Sierra to call, and when she didn't, she called Robert to ask where her sister was, and he would respond, "She left with a man." Now, Stephanie knew her sister, and she knew that she would not just leave with any man. Plus, she only had about $33 in her pocket at the time, so she couldn't have gone far without help. Stephanie went home and waited for Sierra, but she never came home. When she asked Robert about going to the police with her, at first he agreed, but then he backtracked and refused to go. The next day, a dedicated employee at the Caesars casino, she did not show up to work. Her family started panicking. She would be reported missing by her mother on November 21st, 2002. There, they would tell police how she went to Robert's house but never came out. Police would question Robert, but he said he didn't know where Sierra was. Robert would stay in the area a few more years, and he also gained the custody of the daughter he had with Sierra. Then they would move to Las Vegas with him, his mother, his daughter. And Sierra's case will go cold, and that's where it stands today, 23 years later. Allegedly, later the night Sierra went missing, some neighbors heard what sounded like a thug coming from a gun. Now, this last detail came from a missing persons page post on social media, so I'm not sure how accurate it is, but it doesn't sound too far-fetched. Sierra's boyfriend Robert is suspicious, and the fact that she felt like she had to go and kind of rectify or let him know that she wasn't doing anything with the male friend lets me know that it might have been toxic. The sister said that she was sitting in the car while she waited for them to talk, and it was taking a while, so obviously Robert isn't gonna react or do anything in front of the sister. She's sitting right there, but as soon as the sister left, he felt that was an opportunity to do whatever. Allegedly, she went into the house and they didn't come back out, so there's a problem. And the fact that the mom lived there, the mom knew what happened too, so they both know what happened. They know why she didn't come out that house, and it's just unfortunate that he got custody of the daughter, which is kind of odd to me because normally that doesn't happen, and everybody knew her to be a good mother. She had her own place, she had a job, she was going back to school, she was doing what she had to do to take care of her babies. So I'm not sure why they didn't give the custody to Sierra's mom instead of Robert when he should have been the suspect. And they just dropped the ball, and they do this to us all the time. always dropping the ball, always making it seem like they have all this time to look for information, and then we go missing or we end up deceased, and now everybody wants to jump and stuff like that, and they still don't jump even when that happens. So definitely Robert, absolutely, I believe he has something to do with her missing, because it doesn't make any sense. She was good until she went to go see him. So I feel bad for the daughters, because they're old enough to know now, and I'm assuming that the youngest daughter is still living with the dad, and I'm assuming that they still live on the West Coast somewhere. I wonder what she's thinking. People that do things to others, and they don't want to come forward. They acting weird, they moving different, they move to a different state, they think they could just move away and everything is gonna go away, and it might for a while, but the people that had to experience that trauma, it'll never go away from them. So they're always going to try to put the information out there, and it's going to be more details, and somebody else might come out and say, hey, I knew this and I was there and I seen something strange and something ain't right with the situation, because etc., etc. So I'm just I want to help, and this is my way of helping spread awareness, because somebody knows what happened. Somebody was there, somebody heard something, somebody seen something, and somebody knows. And it's happened 23 years ago. So